Hey, Mackenzie here with week 2 of my 12 and 12 challenge. This week I built a blog. It's pretty simple, but we're able to add posts, add comments, and users, as well as authentication. So only signed in users are able to edit or destroy or even add posts or comments. So I know you're dying to see what we're building, so let's just jump in. All right, guys, so before we begin, I'm going to show you what we're actually going to be building this time. So we're going to be building a simple blog with posts and comments. So as you can see, the signed in admin, me, can submit a new post. Let's see, this is a test post. Add a body, copy. And then you get forwarded to the actual post. And then since I'm signed in, I have the option to edit or delete it. As well as that, we have static pages, just an about page on this. And then you can see if we go into incognito, none of the links show up. So a user who is not signed in does not have the ability to edit or delete a post or a comment. All right, so let's just dive in and start building the application. So I'm going to open up iTerm. Let's see, I'll make it a bit bigger. I'll bump up the size so you guys can actually see it. All right, so I'm going to cd into my 12 and 12 directory. And then I'm going to create a new blog. So I'm going to do Rails new blog. That's going to create the Rails application for us. All right, now that that is created, I'm going to cd into that directory. And I'm going to open it up in Sublime Text. All right, and as always, let's do a sanity check. I'm going to do Rails S to run the Rails server. Then I'll open up Chrome and go to localhost 3000. Awesome. Welcome aboard. We're writing Ruby on Rails. Beautiful. So before we go any further, let's quit out of the server, and I'm going to initialize this in Git. Git init to initialize an empty repository. Then I'm going to do git status to see all the untracked files. All right, then let's go ahead and add those files. Git add dot, git commit with the message initial commit. Perfect. So let's think about our app for a second. It's going to be a simple blog, so we want the ability to obviously create a post as well as edit and delete posts. We want the ability for users to be able to add comments, and then we want the ability to the admin user to delete a comment in case it's spam or just a dick comment. And then we should be able to sign in and out. So let's start with the posts. Last week I built the Reddit clone mainly through scaffolds. So this time I'm going to try to do everything manually. All right, so I'm going to start with the posts. So let's go ahead and create a controller. I'm going to do Rails generate controller posts. And that's going to create the controller for us. It's going to create a view directory, but not the actual view file. All right, and then we need to create some routes. So back in Sublime Text, I'm going to go to config. Well, first, let's look at the controller we just created. So under app controllers, post controller, you can see the Rails generated a post controller for us, which is pretty awesome. All right, so back under config and routes, I'm just going to delete all of this stuff, and we're going to add some routes for posts. So I'm going to do resources, posts, and I also know that I want the post to be at the root of the application. So I'm going to go root post controller with the index action. All right, and I know the controller needs a index action, so let's open up the post controller and define one. Def index end. All right, so now if we refresh the browser, whoops. Let's cd into our 12 and 12, and then blog, run the Rails server. There we go. Now we get an error, template is missing, which tells us exactly what we need to do next. We need to create a view. So under app, views, posts, I'm going to add a new file. I'm going to call this index.html.erb. And for now, I'm just going to put a placeholder. This is the index.html.erb file. Yay. All right, save that. Go back to our browser, refresh. Beautiful, it's showing up for us. All right, so next we want to have the ability to create new posts. So to do that, let's start in our post controller, and we're gonna add a new method or new action. So def new end. Then if we go back to our browser, we should be able to go /posts /new. All right, and we're getting another template is missing file. So under app views posts, let's create a new file, and we will call this new.html.erb. I'm just going to put an h1 tag, say new post, and then we need to add a form. So I'm going to use Rails form for method, form for, and then it's going to be form for post with the URL of the post's path. This is so it actually can submit the post, and then do F. And then I want to close that before I forget. All right, so I know I need the posts, I'm going to want a title as well as the body text. So even though we haven't created our model yet, let's just go ahead and add the form. So I'm going to do f.label and call this title, then add a br tag, and then we're going to do f.text field, text underscore field, and this is going to be title as well. Add another br tag. Actually, you know what? Let's wrap this in a p tag. That way each one will automatically get a line break from the p. All right, let's add another for the body text, f.label. This is going to be body, and then f.text, let's do text area, and this will be body as well. And then one last one, f.submit. All right, so if we go back and refresh, we should see the template now, or the new form now. Perfect. You know, I'm not liking how this is going, so I'm going to add a br tag, which is a line break after the label. So the forms drop to the next, or the inputs drop to the next line. Perfect. All right, so we have a new form, but we don't have a model to associate it with, which means we won't be able to save our data. So let's do that next. Inside of our terminal, let's generate a model. So I'm going to do Rails G model post with capital P, and then we're going to do the fields we just created in our form can see title and body. So I'm going to do title, which is going to be a string, and then body, which is going to be text. And as you can see, that generates a migration file for us, the model file, as well as some test files. And you can see those under db migrate, and then here's the migration file. You can see t.string or title, t.text body, and then it gives us the t.timestamps, which we'll be using for free. Then under models, you can see it created a post model for us, which inherits from active record base. All right, so now back in our terminal, we need to migrate our database. So I'm going to do rake db:/migrate. All right, and that creates the migration for us. So let's close this, close post, close the form for now. Let's just focus on the controller. So in order to save our post, we need to define a create method. So let's do def create end, and then inside of that, we will first find the post. So at post equals, or we will first create the post. So post.new post params, which I'll explain later, and then at post.save. Let's put that up there. And then we are going to want to redirect to at post. Redirect _to at post. And then Rails 4 has a security feature called strong parameters. You have to define or explicitly say what parameters you want to allow. So under a private method, we're going to do private, and then I'm going to do def post params, which we're using up here. So def post params, I'm going to do params.require, and then it's going to require the post, and then it's going to permit the title and the body. I'm going to end that. So now if we go back to our form, refresh, add a title, let's say first post, and I'll just put lorem ipsum. There we go. All right, so we submitted it. It tried to forward us to the show page. As you can see, the action show could not be found for post controllers. And then in the URL post/1. So that is the first post we created. So that tells us exactly what we need to do. We need to create our show page. So let's do that under app views posts. We're gonna create a new post or a new file called show.html.erb. And this is gonna be where the actual post lives. All right, so for the post, I know we want to show the title, the body, and also when the post was submitted at. So I'm going to add that now. I'm going to do the title with a class of .title, or with a class of title. And then I'm going to put that inside of, or we're going to do at post.title. And then we're going to do another one with the date it was submitted at, called in a paragraph tag with class of date. And I will do actually undo that. I'm going to do submitted. And then we're going to do dynamic. It's going to do time ago in words. And then we're going to grab the post at post.created at. And then close the Ruby tag, and then I'm going to put ago. So it's going to say submitted about 1 minute ago. All right, and then the body, I'm going to put that in a p tag as well, p.body, and then we will do at post.body. So we can save this, but it's not going to work because we're grabbing at post, which we have not defined yet. So before we refresh, let's just go ahead and do that. Def show, and then we're going to define at post equals post.find with params ID. So the params ID is going to be the /1 or /2, or it's just going to find the post for us. So if we save this and refresh, beautiful. So it has the title submitted 3 minutes ago with the body text. All right, I want to, I'm going to do /post/new. I'm going to create another one. Say another post. This is the second post. Save that. Beautiful. So now I want to list out all of the posts that's going to be at / or at the root of the application, so at localhost 3000. So first we need to edit our index action. So I'll do at post equals post.all, and this would work by itself, but I also want to, since it's a blog, I want the older posts to, or the newer posts to show up on top. So we're gonna do order and then created at descending. So this is gonna reverse the post order. And then inside of our posts index.html, we're gonna replace this copy, and I'm gonna do a loop through each of the posts. So at post.each, do post, and then let's close that. So for each of the posts, I want to put them in a post wrapper div, and then the title of the post is going to be an h2 tag, class of title, and then we're going to do link to post.title, and then it's going to be the post path. And then on the index page, I don't want the description. We're just going to do the time it was, or the date it was created at. So I'm going to do this in a p tag with the date class. We're going to do post.created at, and then f time. This one's going to be a little different than the show page, the time ago in words. I wanted to, on the index, I want to have the actual date. So I'm going to do %b, lowercase d, and then %y. So now if we go to /localhost, undefined method .each. Did I misspell something? Oh, okay, I did. In the post controller index action, I did at post, and then in the view, I did posts, plural. It makes more sense to have it posts, so I'm going to save that, refresh, beautiful. Now everything's showing up. All right, so our posts are looking pretty good. We still don't have the ability to edit or delete a post yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and commit what we have. So I'm going to do git status, see what we did. There's quite a bit of untracked files, so let's add those with git add all. And then we'll do git commit -am, and I'll just say add posts. So next, I want to add a little structure navigation to our app before we move on, as well as some styling to make it look a bit nicer. Because right now, it's kind of a pain in the ass having to type everything in directly. So let's go ahead and do that now. You know what? It'd probably be smart to do this on a new branch. So let's git checkout -b, and I'll just put this styling. Whoops, no quotation. Git checkout -b styling, which switches us to a new branch called styling. All right, so what we're gonna do, let's close out these, is we're gonna focus on the layouts application.html.erb file for right now. So I'm going to create a sidebar. If you remember the original application, we have a sidebar that's fixed, a header, and then the main body. So let's go ahead and create the sidebar right now. So in our application.html.erb, let's do a div with the ID of sidebar. And then I'm going to put a div with ID of logo. Then inside that, I'm going to add my logo. Link to root _ path do, and then I'm going to add the image tag with the name of the image, and it's going to be logo.svg. And then I'm going to close that. All right, and then we also want to add the sidebar links. So I'm going to do a UL, an unordered list, and then li ×3. If you don't remember me talking about this last week, it was emit is what this is. It makes it so we can just type in a little bit, hit tab, and it puts everything out for us. Beautiful. I love it. So the top one is going to be website. And then we need to add the class of category. And then the next one, we're going to do the link to, and then this is going to be a blog. And then this is going to link to the root path, because the root of our application is just listing out the blog posts. And then the bottom one, we're just going to do it static for now and about. Then let's create another one, ul li ×5. So top one, class of category. And then this is going to be social. All right, so I'm just going to copy and paste these links. That way you don't have to see me typing them all. All right, so I'm just adding a link to my Twitter, my Instagram, GitHub, and a email me link. So let's save that, go back to our application, refresh. Awesome. So you see the links, the image tag is broken. That is because I have not added the image to the directory. All right, I went ahead and added the application, or added the logo, as well as a few other pictures we're going to be using inside of this application. And I added it to app assets / images. So I added my logo, a favicon, which is again my logo that will show up right here. And then the picture that I'm going to use on the about page. So if I refresh that, you see my logo, way too big. That is because there is no CSS yet. So I'm going to take care of that right now. So to do that, I need to go into the style sheet. I'm going to do the application.css file. First, we need to rename this to .and SCSS extension so that we can use Sass. All right, so first, I know we are going to use Normalize. So I'll have a link in the description below. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. This basically resets every browser, so you're starting from the same place. So each browser doesn't use a different default styling. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to create a new style sheet, and it's going to be a partial. So I'm going to call this underscore normalize.css.scss, and then paste the normalize stuff in. Beautiful. And then inside of our application, I'm simply going to import it. So I'm going to do @import and then normalize. Whoops, normalize. So now you can see if we refresh, it changes the fonts a bit, removes the margin and all that. Perfect. So since this is about Rails and not styling, I am just going to copy and paste all of the CSS. I'm not really going to explain what I did. But if you want to follow along, I'll have the CSS inside of my blog post as well as on GitHub. So I'm just going to copy that and then paste it all below. Do a quick walkthrough. Basically, we're setting a font, all the sidebar styles, and then this is all nesting with Sass or SCSS, which is quite a beautiful thing. So instead of having to do sidebar, and then under here sidebar UL, and then sidebar UL LI, and it's just nesting it makes it a lot cleaner and easier to manage. Got a clear fix, got the main content styling, and then some stuff for the comments that we're going to add later. All right, so if I save this and I go ahead and refresh, invalid CSS after line 5. I'm going to try taking that out real quick, refresh. So I guess there was an extra closing tag for some reason. So since I got rid of that, it removed that for us. You can see we still have, if we inspect the source, we still have the post. They're just hidden behind the sidebar right now because we have not added the wrapper to the application.html.erb. All right, so let's go ahead and close out the CSS and the normalize files, and then go back to our application.html.erb. So a few more things we want to do. Let's see. I want to add a sign-in button so a user can sign in. It's going to be class sign in. So I'm going to do admin login. Then if you save that, refresh, you can see it shows up right here. But obviously it doesn't do anything just yet. Oh, and one last thing is you can see the difference between the final application and the one we're working on. The fonts are different. And that is because we have not yet added the Google font. So to do that, I grabbed a font off of Google Font, and I defined that in the CSS, but we haven't included that in our application. So I'm going to do that now. So under the style sheet link tag, I'm going to do paste this line in. This is linking to the fonts Google Font API and then the Railway font. So if I refresh this, beautiful. You can see the fonts are now changed to what they should be. All right, so let's go ahead and keep working. Under the sidebar, we're gonna add a main content area with ID of main_content. And then inside of here, I want a header. So let's do ID header. And then this is gonna be, I'm just gonna put all posts so that the all posts show up on the index page. And then also I want to add some buttons for us to add a new post and sign in or log out. So I'll do class buttons, and then I'll do button, and then with a class of button. And then the top one I'm going to do link to. It's going to link to a new post, new underscore post path. And then I'm going to do another one, button dot button. And then this one's just going to be static for now and log out. So let's save that, refresh. Awesome. You can see all post shows up. New post. If we click on that, yeah, that shows up as well. And then the log out, which doesn't do anything just yet. We also need to add, not inside of our header, but we need to add a flash message. So anything Rails spits out to us, we can actually see what's going on. For example, if we sign in or sign out or create a new post, it will say you successfully submitted a new post, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I'm going to do flash.each, do name and message. And then I'm going to close this. All right. This is going to be a content tag. And it's going to be a div with the message, and it's going to be a class of alert. All right, and one last thing, we just need to move our yield up into the main content div. This doesn't, oh, okay, we forgot to close this out. One of the beautiful things about syntax highlighting is you can notice things like that. So you can see this isn't the regular color it should be, so I noticed I forgot to close out the content tag. Refresh that, you can see the posts get formatted and actually pushed over into the main content. One note on the styling is it's styled for the most part, but you can see you'd probably want to add some media queries to make this thing responsive. So probably at about here, you'd probably want to break the layout and change it a bit. Probably maybe put an off-canvas menu, something else. But we're not going to go into that in this demo. So everything's looking pretty good. Let's see, if we go in here, you can see it's not pushed over like it should be. And then the new post, obviously the same thing is happening. So let's take care of that. Let's go to post, and we're going to do post.new. And I'm just going to wrap this entire thing inside of a post wrapper div, which is all styled and will fix the formatting for us. So if I refresh that, okay. We should have done a page wrapper, not post wrapper, page wrapper. So I'll refresh that. Beautiful. Everything's looking good. Let's go to the show. I'm going to wrap this in div ID post content, ID post content. Copy that. Move everything over. And then if we go back to the home page and to the post, beautiful. All right, everything's looking pretty good right now. So I'm going to go ahead and commit and merge what we just did. So let's check out what we did. Git status, quite a bit of untracked files as well as modified files. Let's do git, git add dot, and then git commit -am, styling and structure. Perfect. Now let's do git checkout master, and then we'll merge in the styling branch by doing git merge styling. Awesome. So now everything is on the master branch. Now currently it's we can create a new post, but we can also create a post right now just by hitting save. Don't want to do that. We have no errors or validations in place that will throw up errors if, for example, we don't have a post or missing the body text. So I want to go ahead and fix that. So to do that, we're going to open up the models post.rb, and we're just going to add some validations to our model. So I'm going to do validates title presence, whoops, if I could spell, hence true, and then a length of at least 5 characters. Length minimum, and then it's going to be 5. Then I'm also going to do validates body, and then I'm just going to do presence true. Perfect. So now we need to tweak our post controller. Oops, wrong file. Controllers, post controller. So 2 things. We need to tweak the new method. I'm going to do @post equals post.new. Crap. @post equals post.new. And then we're going to do an if statement inside the create. So if @post.save. If @post.save, we're going to redirect to the post. Else, we're going to render the new method, which is the post/new. And we want to do a render instead of a redirect, because a render, a redirect would do a entirely new HTTP refresh, which means you would lose all the content inside of the form. So say you put Mackenzie child and then blah, blah, blah. If I hit save post and the post did not save and it redirected me back here, it would I would lose all this. So if I wrote a big long blog post and I accidentally messed up and it couldn't save and I lost all that, that would be extremely frustrating. So doing the render will keep all that content in place. So the validations are great and all, but we need to be able to see what's going on. Whoops, let's save our post controller. So we need to add some error messages to our post so we can actually see what the errors are and actually be able to fix them. So under the form for, I'm going to do an if statement. If @post.errors.any question mark. I'm going to end this real quick. All right, we're going to do div with an ID of errors. And then I'm going to put this in an h2 tag. And we're going to do pluralize @post.errors.count error. What the pluralize does is anything past a count of 1, so 2, 3 on, it will automatically pluralize it for us. If not, it will just be error. And then we're going to do number of errors prevented this post from saving. All right, and then we want to list out the actual errors. So we'll put a UL tag, and then we're going to wrap it in @post.errors with full messages.each do message. All right, and then let's end that. And then each message is going to be inside of a li tag, listing out the message. All right, so now if we go back to the form, say I refresh this and I just try to save it, it should throw up some errors for us. Awesome. 3 errors prevented this post from saving. Title can't be blank. Title is too short, minimum of 5 characters, which we get from the length minimum. And then body can't be blank. So let's add, this is a validated post. And then I'm just going to do, actually, let's grab some hipster ipsum, which is some awesome dummy text. So I'm just going to copy a couple blocks of that, paste it in. Beautiful. All right, so that's pretty much done for the validation. So let's do git status, see what we did. We modified the post controller, post model, and then the new form. All right, let's do git add dot git commit -am add validations to post form. All right. Now we want the ability to edit or delete a post. So let's start with the edit. Inside of our post controller, we'll close down the model and the new. We need to add a edit and a update method or action. So first we'll do def edit end. Then inside of here, I'm going to do @post equals post.find with params ID. And then def update. All right, and then inside of the def update, we're going to do @post equals, we're going to find the post, params ID. I'm going to do if @post dot update and then params of post and then permit the title and the body. We're going to redirect back to the post. Else we're going to render the edit action or the edit form. Okay, now we need to add an edit view and form. We're going to be using the same form as the the new. So I'm going to go ahead and convert the new one as well as the edit to a partial. So what I'm going to do is create a new file called edit.html.erb and then also a new one called this is going to be a partial. We're going to call this form.html.erb. All right, so I'm just going to copy this form and then I'm going to replace it with render form, which is going to grab the partial for us. And then in the form, we need to make a few tweaks. So instead of form for post URL, I'm just going to delete all this. And we're going to do form for @post. And then Rails is smart enough to figure out what form we're using this for. So whether it's the edit or the new. And then inside the edit, let's just copy this, paste it. I'm going to say edit post. All right, and let's go to our show page and add the ability to edit a post. So I'm just going to add it in the same div or the same class p class as the date. So I'm going to put a pipe and then I'm going to put link to edit and then I'm going to do edit post path @post. Whoops. All right, so now if we go back to our app, we see an edit button. Awesome. So let's try updating it. This is an updated post. Update. Perfect. And it saves it for us and redirects us back to the show page. All right, so let's add the ability to delete one now. So back in our post controller at the bottom, I'm going to put a destroy method. So @def destroy, and then we'll end that. All right, we're going to find the post with @post equals post.find with params ID. And then we're going to do @post.destroy And then we want to redirect to the post path. Post path afterwards. All right, but we need to add a link to delete it as well. So inside here, inside of our show, I'm gonna do another link to, this time delete, and then it's gonna do post path at post, and then we're gonna do method delete, and then data, we're going to do confirm. Are you sure? Question mark. All right, so let's save that. Refresh. Syntax error. Oh, duh. I did not close the link to. Refresh. All right, let's just try to delete it. Are you sure? Yeah. Perfect. You know what? I don't want to redirect back to /post. I want to redirect back to the root path. Because we shouldn't be going to at post. We should be going back home. So I'm going to real quick test post, add a new one. Then I want to delete it. Perfect. Sends us back home. Awesome. So let's do commit this, git status, see what we did. All right, git add the untracked files, git commit -am. I'm gonna do edit and delete posts. So our application is looking pretty good right now. We were able to add a new post, edit a post, delete a post. The next thing I want to do is add the ability to add a comment. So for that, let's start by creating a new model to hold the comments. So let's do Rails G model comment. The name of the commenter is going to be a string, and then we're going to do a body, which is going to be text, and we're going to reference this to the post. So a post or a comment belongs to a post. So we're going to do post::references. All right, and you can see, let's close out these, what that created. Inside of our models, if we go to comment, you can see a comment belongs to a post, which is from the post references. And then database, migrate, you can see the migration file it created for us as well. So let's go ahead and migrate the database, rake db migrate. All right, so one thing I know we need to do is we need to add an association to the posts. So under post.rb, we're going to do a post has many comments. Then next we need to add some routes for our comments. So we're going to do config routes.rb, and these are going to be nested routes. So I'm going to do, let's give some space, resources post do, and then I'm going to do resources comments, and then end that. So now if we run rake routes, you can see all of our routes we have made. We have post comment, new post, edit post. All right, and you can see it goes /post and then comments because it's a nested route. Perfect. So now we need to generate a comment controller. So let's do that. Rails G controller comments. And in order to create a comment, we need to add a create method inside of our controller. So let's close this, close the assets. All right. Inside of our comments controller, let's create a def create method or action. So in here, we're going to do @post equals post.find, and we're going to do params with the post ID, and then we're going to define comment as post or comment equals at post dot comments dot create, and then params comment, and then we're going to permit whoops, dot permit name, and let's see, what did we do? Database, migrate, name and body. And then we want to redirect to post path at post. We're going to create a few forms, well, a few partials, and then we're going to import those partials into the post show page. All right, so let's take care of the partials first. So let's create a new file, and I'm going to save this as comment.html.erb. Notice the underscore before it because it's the partial. And then another one we're going to save as form.html.erb. So inside the form, we want to create a form for form_for, and then we're going to do at post.comments.build, and then do f, and then close it. All right, then inside of here, let's add a p tag, f.label with the name, f.text field with the name as well. So that would be our tag. And then down below, we'll add another one and do f.label body, br, and then f.text, let's do text area with the body. And then we'll add one more br tag. I guess we can put this in p. f.submit. All right. Now inside of our comment, we're going to want to create what the comments are actually going to look like, or how they're going to be structured. So I'm going to just copy and paste this, and I'll explain what I did. All right, so each comment is going to be inside of a class comment, and then there's going to be content, and then name, body, and time. And then this is looping through the comment.name, comment.body, and then create at time ago in words. So the reason we put it in a comment content is because later we're going to add a delete button. So let's save that. And then inside of our posts show, we're going to want to add, let's see, under the body, let's add ID of comments to wrap around all the comments. And then H2, I want to grab the number of comments. So I'm going to do at post.comments.count, and then we're going to write comments. And then we're going to render at post.comments. Then under here, we're going to do, so this is grabbing the comments.html.erb. Now let's grab the form. So we'll do a h3, add a comment, and then we're going to render the form. Comments/form. So let's save that, refresh. Awesome. So our comments now show up. We should be able to add a comment. Name, Mackenzie Child. This is my first comment. Great. All right. So that was the form partial, and then this is the comment partial. So it lists out the name, the actual comment, and then the time ago in words. So if we do another one, let's see, another user, this is my first comment. Comment 2. Awesome. So if you didn't have the ability to delete a comment, you'd probably get a ton of spam. So we need to add the ability for our signed in user, which we're not going to do right now, but for a user to be able to delete a comment. So back in our comments controller, let's do def destroy. And then inside of here, we're going to do @post equals, I'm just going to copy this because it will be the same. We're going to do @post.find params post_id. Then we're going to do @comment equals post.comments.find with params id. And then I'm going to do @comment.destroy. And we want to redirect to post path @post. All right, and now in our in our comment, we want it to be inside the comment class, but not the comment content. So under here, I'm gonna add a p tag, link to, and then this is gonna be delete. And then we're going to delete comment.post comment. And then I'm going to drop it down. We're going to do method delete class of button to give it some styling. And then we're going to do data confirm, are you sure? And then let's close that. So now if we refresh, we see the delete button. Let's give it a try. Delete, are you sure? Yes. All right, and it deletes it. Perfect. So one thing last before we move on is we need to make sure that if we delete a post, the comments get deleted as well. Otherwise, if we deleted a post and not the comments, then the comments would just take up space on the database, but wouldn't actually be associated with a post. So what we're going to do is inside of our models and our post model, post model, we're going to do has many comments. And then we're going to do dependent destroy. So that way, if a post gets deleted, the comment gets deleted from the database as well. All right, so let's do get status. Quite a bit of untracked, so let's do get add dot get commit -am. Well, with the message add comments. All right, so the next thing I want to do is, for quite a while, we've had the about page just be static. So I want to actually create that about page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a controller, Rails generate controller for the pages. All right, so I'm going to open up that controller, pages controller. You know what, let's close down all this. Pages controller. I know I want a about page, so I'm going to define a about action. Page controller def about end. All right, and then we need to go into config, routes, add a route for our about. So I don't need the full resources like the update, delete, destroy, all that. So I'm just going to do get /about to pages So what this is going to do is make it so we don't have to go to /pages/about. We're just going to do /about. Right, so if we go to /about, oops, it says template is missing. So let's go ahead and create that. Under views pages, we're going to create a new one called about.html.erb. Right, and I'm just going to copy and paste a little about section I wrote up. So this is just grabbing an image saying, hey, I'm Mackenzie Child, welcome to week 2, blah, blah, blah. All right, so if we save that, refresh, you can see a picture of me, hey, I'm Mackenzie, and then the text. Awesome. So let's take care of the little about button. So back in our app layouts, application.html.erb, see, let's change this from the static about to link to. We're going to link to about, and then this is going to go to the about path. Refresh that. Beautiful. All right, another thing that kind of bugs me is I don't want, all posts make sense for when it's listing out all the posts, but under the about doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to add some if statement. I'm going to say to the header around the all posts. So if current page question mark is the root path. So if we're at home, say all posts, and then else if current page is the about path, I want to say about, and then else we're going to give a link back to all posts, and then we're going to link that to the root path, and then let's end that. So now if we go back to our application, you can see we're on the about page, so it says about. The root of the application says all posts, and then if we go back here, it gives us a link back to all posts. Cool stuff. All right, so let's commit what we just did. We'll do git status, take a look. All right, git add all, git commit -am add pages. All right, then the final thing we need to do is add a user. So we want to make sure that not just anyone can create a post or log in. So I don't want just anyone to be able to see these buttons. So let's close out of these. Back in our terminal, actually not in our terminal, in our gem file, we need to add Devise. All right, so let's just open that up. Gem, let's see, I'm just gonna add it to the bottom. Gem, Devise, and I'm gonna use the latest version as of this recording, which is 3.3.0. So I'm gonna save that, run bundle install. All right, since it's already on my system, it's not gonna install it for me, but it is the gemfile.lock. It's going to make sure that our application is actually using that. So I want to go to our server. I'm going to restart that real quick so it makes sure it knows to use Devise. Then I'm going to install Devise. So I'm going to do Rails generate Devise install. All right, so now it gives us a few things to do. So let's go ahead and do those now. Ensure you have defined default URL option in the environment files. All right, so I'll copy this, site config, environments, development.rb. I'm just gonna add that to the bottom, save that. In production, host should be set to the actual host of your application. Well, if you plan on launching this, you should definitely do that. ensure you have root URL to something. We do, because in the routes.rb, root is going to the post controller index action. We do have notices. Let's see, we're not going to be deploying to Heroku in this one, but I know I am going to edit a view, so I'm going to do Rails G Devise views. All right, so now that we have done all that, let's go ahead and add a user, or generate a user. So Rails generate Devise user, and that creates a migration for us as well as a user model. I'm going to do rake db migrate. All right, so now if we go to post or localhost /users/sign up, not sure what this error is. Let's try restarting our server real quick. So I'm going to go back. So let's try to go to users/sign up. There we go. It was just a server issue. All right, so I'm going to do hey@mckinseychild.me. Password is password. All right, and then we'll sign up. Welcome, you have successfully signed up. Awesome. So if we go to /login, I know that page is going to needs a wrapper around it. So let's do that real quick before I forget. Views, Devise, sessions, new.html.erb. We're just going to wrap this in a div ID page wrapper. Copy that, move everything over, and then close it. So now if we go in incognito, when we're not logged in, and go to /users/sign-in. If I could type. All right, so it's still a little funky. Let's clean it up a bit more and add some BR tags. So let's add one between the remember me. Let's add one after each of the inputs, and then one before the links. All right, looks a little bit better. So let's go ahead and authenticate or add some authentication to our posts. So inside the post controller, we're going to do controllers, post controller. At the top, we're going to add a before action. And then this is from Devise, authenticate _user exclamation point. And then we want to authenticate everything except for the index and the show. All right, so now let's see, let's go back to the incognito window. If I try to do new post, it should send me to the sign in. Awesome. So that's from the before action we just created. So now we need to make sure in our views we can't see it if we're not signed in. So I'm going to go to application.html.erb under the layouts. So let's see, we don't want to be able to see the buttons. So let's wrap that inside of a if user. Let's see, if user signed in question mark, then we'll show these. So if we go back and refresh, we should still see it, but in incognito, those are not there. Perfect. And then the admin login. This one's a little different. We want to do if not signed in. We want to show it, because it doesn't really make sense to have a link to the login if you're already signed in. So you can see admin login is right there, but when we are logged in, it doesn't show up anymore. All right, so a few more places, posts. I know, let's see, the show has quite a few. So we don't want the edit or the links to show. So we'll do if user signed in, and then we'll close that. Go in incognito. All right, the links don't show up anymore. And then we don't want the delete to show up either. So we're gonna go to the comment. So views, comments, comment. Then around the delete button, we're gonna do if user signed in. Let's move this over. Whoops. All right, so refresh that. Now you can see it's gone. But if we are logged in, we can still do everything. Awesome. So let's go ahead and commit what we just did. Git status, git add dot, git commit -am, add devise and users. Sweet, we're all finished building our blog. If you'd like to follow along as I learn more Rails, find me on Twitter @McKinseyChild or on my website, mckinseychild.me. See ya.